So that's really cool. That's awesome. And so here's the deal. You can get to know Brandon. You can see all of these accomplishments. Brandon, I've been impressed from the moment I met about all that you've been able to do and accomplish. So you can almost begin to get this perception that, well, Brandon just doesn't struggle. Brandon just doesn't have any trouble. He hasn't had any challenges other than what we might have thought, but he's overcome. So I know that's not true. It's not true for any of us. We all just shared some challenges, and I know it's not been true for you. So if you would, I would love to know if you'd be vulnerable enough with us to share maybe what some of your challenges have been that you faced, some of the most difficult.
Well, yeah, definitely. Obviously, there's the obvious ones. Like I said, brushing teeth, getting dressed and everything. You know, there's things like that that I have assistance with and that I'm able to overcome. But some of the bigger ones that aren't the most obvious come from social, come from spiritual sides of things. Spiritually, I've never wanted to ask God why. I've been raised to never ask the question why. I have no reason to ask the question why. I know God put me in the body that I have for a reason, and only He knows that reason, and I will come to find that reason over time. But some of the emotional and social sides of it do kind of leave me asking why occasionally. Like growing up, making friends, I never really had any troubles making friends. The biggest part was the parents of the kids. The parents are always the ones that wanted to hide the kids away and everything, but once the parents got to know me and talked to my parents, things were okay. But then you go out in the public as you get older, you begin to notice these things. Like, you always hear the kids talking, hey, look at that guy, look at that guy. That doesn't really bother me. Kids, they're naturally curious, and that's completely normal. I love it when kids come up and ask me, what happened, why are you different? I love answering the questions of the kids, but it's the parents that, no, don't ask the question, don't ask that question. But the tough part about going out in the public with my disability is not just on me, it's on the people that I'm with. They also hear the comments and people talking, and that is really rough on them. One of the things that I've come to learn over time is that when my sisters are out with me and they hear the comments and they see people staring, I've learned pretty much, I'm so used to it, I just kind of tune it out, that my sisters now, when they see people staring or commenting, they'll step into the line of vision of those people and me, so they can't stare anymore or make any comments. But another part of that's tough going out in the public is the whole dating scene. When you go out on a date, your guys can know this. You're trying to be the best type of guy you can be and everything. You're trying to put look good and everything. And it's tough when you're out on a date and you're getting all those comments from people and everything. But then also in dating, the other aspect that comes up with it is, girls. Might be an assumption, ladies. I'm sorry, I'm a guy, so I don't know. But girls tend to have this vision of the Mr. Perfect, Mr. Right growing up. And I've learned I'm not that vision of the Mr. Perfect, the Mr. Right, tall, dark, and handsome. Well, I'm short and hopefully I'm handsome. But, those are challenges, and I've come to accept them. I've come to trust that God has a plan for me with all of those challenges. I know that God, like I said, has put me in this body for a reason. He has a plan for me, and I'm going to find that plan as I go on in my life. And dating-wise, I know God's put the right girl for me out there, so I just trust Him. I know He'll always have my back.
That's very cool. So you talked about, growing up, parents were part of church, leading a youth group. You've been around it. Sounds like you've been around church. But you talk about this relationship with Christ. And I know, as I've gotten to know you, Brandon, that you are a follower of Jesus. And so talk to us about what that has meant for you, being a follower of Jesus, and what that's meant for you in these challenges, what that's meant for you just in your life.
Well, I can start off where it kind of all began. I initially accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior back when I was in 3rd grade. But at that time, I didn't really understand the full aspect of it. I didn't completely grasp the entire idea, because it was kind of a thing to do at that age. So over time, I kept going to church with my family, kept going to youth group. Then I went away on a trip with my youth group at East 91st Street called to Christ in You, CIY, in the summer. And it was a moment on my second trip there that it really just, everything just seemed to click. That I really understood what Jesus had done for me, and the fact that he died for my sins, and that because of him, I can be saved, as long as I trust him as my Lord and Savior. So that night, went down front with a bunch of other people, and I recommitted my life to Christ, and I ended up getting baptized on that trip. It was kind of a funny story, because we're getting baptized in a fountain out in front of the auditorium on this college campus. Well, the campus wasn't a Christian campus, so the police came and ran us off because we couldn't baptize in the fountain there. So all the guys, we got baptized in the fountain, and the girls that were getting baptized had to get baptized in a lake that kind of looked like that one there.
Wow.
But I've always been brought up, and I still believe that as long as you are willing to communicate with God and trust him and keep an open mind with him and be able to listen to him, he's going to be there for you, and he will always have your back every step of the way. He always provides. Like, for instance, I was talking about my job and the student loans. My mom can tell you this. There was a night right before I had the interview with Geico that I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay these student loans. I'm going to have to go back to school just to make sure the loans don't have to be paid. But then the next night, here we are sitting in the kitchen celebrating that I have a job that's going to be able to help me pay my student loans. So as long as you trust God, he is going to provide.
Very cool. Very cool. And so, when we talked, Brandon and I just sat down and just had a little bit of a conversation, because I wanted more of his story. And as you talked, there was something that you said that I'm going to kind of turn in a question for him to you. You'd actually just said something. And so the question I'm asking is this. If you could ask the Lord, if you could ask God right now, give me arms and legs, and boom, there it is. Would you do it?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Now, yes, I can admit there are times I wonder, what would it be like? I wonder, where would I be right now if I did have arms and legs? And I don't know. And then I think, well, wait a second. All the opportunities that I've had in my life, I've had the opportunities to travel to Italy, I've had the opportunity to travel to London, sing in choirs at all these different places. I wouldn't have had those opportunities most likely. I've been able to been a trailblazer for people in the disabled community. I wouldn't have been able to do that. And most of all, I would not have had Rona. That's a big one.
Yes.
Amen. So that's a big one, but no, I would definitely not ask for arms and legs. I think it would also be terrifying to wake up one morning and have full arms and legs. I have no idea what to do with them.